here with Elyoya ahead of the match of the week. Make a little noise. KOI fans, yes. There we go. Yeah, Yoya, they had a long day yesterday. They got here in the beginning. I think one of them was taking a nap to wait until you are going to play. So is it fun seeing that in the first weekend back you have so much support?
Yeah, I mean, it's not only that. Also watching them waiting us in the rain for like minutes, just waiting us. So yeah, it shows how much they love the team and how much they support us. So obviously it feels really great. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Absolutely. Now, the kickoff yesterday, I think overall you have a super heavy schedule when you look at the first week. Let's start with G2 then. What were the takeaways there for a game that you won, other games where you maybe weren't as competitive as you would have liked to be? What were the takeaways for you?
Mostly I take the blame on this series. I think game one we didn't really show prepared. I think we came with a really bad preparation, like warm-up. No one of us was really ready. We forgot of what it is playing in a stage. And it was a good reminder. So into game two, we could fix some things, but game three, we didn't know how to execute our comp. So yeah, I take the most blame for this one, but yeah, also really important takeaways.
Yeah, there's a really interesting interview that you did with Lee Jones from esports.net where you talked about kind of taking the blame, but also that you didn't feel even in the lead up to this week that maybe the preparation was on point. I guess for you, that must be disappointing as well, not just for you as a person, but from a team perspective, because winter wasn't as far as you would have wanted to go, right? You didn't make it to that finals weekend. So what are kind of the action points for this split for Movistar KOI?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, the most important is the practice. We need to fix some discipline problems we are having in the practice, which are not as easy to fix as they would have been done. But yeah, I mean, we need to work on that so we can have some more efficient practice and just things after that are gonna come way easier because I don't think we had a problem in winter of gameplay. I think our problem was more we couldn't really show up in some games, and it's also what we need to work on this split.
Yeah, how are you gonna do versus KC? A very big matchup, a very important one for the rivaling fan bases, right? But also in terms of your season.
Well, for us this is like a finals pretty much. We love playing against KC. And they made it quite far, so we are even more excited to beat them. And for us, it's going to be an easy win, yeah.
Amazing. Good luck. Thank you so much. And one more time for Elyoya.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sjokz, for the Marriott Bonvoy pre-game check-in with Elyoya. It's interesting hearing him talk about MKOI and how everything is going, because when you think about it, MKOI was kind of like the Spanish team that was promised, and they're going to face off against KC, who ended up being that team, who ended up being that guy and getting this international stage experience at first stand.
And, you know, the one thing which really sticks out to me, they're saying, you know, we're treating this like a finals. It's a single round robin. You might not even face up against them in playoffs if you make it to that point. This is your chance to face up against the team which just had a great international result in a regional setting.
Yeah, talking about the team that we promised, I mean, what a rebuild that KC obviously has done. This team is just barely 3 months old at this point, and I think it's just the fact that this roster is already so star-specced. Now with the experience that you're talking about from first stand, right? We're talking about Canna in the top lane. This split, he's going to be trying to come for BB's title as the best top laner. Vladi as well in the mid lane. Outperformed Caps in that final, gunning for the best mid laner in Europe as well. And Yike, you know, trying to cement himself as the very best jungler in Europe.
It wasn't G2, it was me.
And I haven't even started talking about Caliste and, you know, Targamas completely revamping himself as a player. There's so many things to be hyped and excited about this KC roster.
And that's the thing, how are they going to come back from first stand? Because a lot of fatigue, jet lag and everything, the impact of an international tournament, the benefits as well, because they learned a lot of stuff. Talking to Vladi after finals, actually, he was telling me that international teams are player at playing the map, high tempo, but how do you implement this in the LEC where teams play differently?
That's a great question, because you are not playing the same style of League of Legends that all regions together kind of come together in a melting pot like that. We also know that KC are a very prep-heavy team. They do well when they've got a bit of time to sit and think about their opponents. Now it's the single round robin, you don't get to play the multiple opponents multiple times. Sometimes that maybe takes the edge off a little bit. G2, the first time they played them against them in playoffs, it's an absolute wash. Yeah. Then he went into finals, they really came back and slapped back hard. So I don't know whether we'll see that here today, and maybe that gives an opening to Movistar KOI.
Yeah, but I still think the expectation around a KC roster like this is that you're expecting them to just hit the ground running and continue with the tempo and the momentum they've kind of gained from first stand. I don't think that they're less hungry. If anything, they're probably even more willing to start improving and cementing themselves as the very best team in Europe.
It is a matchup that fans love and fans learn to love. Actually, France versus Spain, MKOI versus KC. There's a lot of expectations and there's a lot of hype around this matchup, so let's get to it.
Bueno, creo que llega una nueva rivalidad a la competición, en la cual se ve respaldada por dos grandes aficiones que están dándolo todo siempre con los equipos, tanto por redes sociales como en los streamings, incluso viajando para apoyarlos. Lideradas en este caso por dos grandes figuras de la creación de contenido como son Ibai y Kameto, y referentes también en el mundo de los esports. Si a esto le sumamos también el boom que está teniendo todo el tema del co-streaming, pues yo creo que estos serían los puntos más importantes en este caso.
KC are enclosing on them. Yike with the perfect ulti as well, and Targamas just charms up. Skewmon can't get out alive, and Canna is about to go mega once again. Will fly in and smack him down. Know your place and kneel. KC challenging the kings, changing dynasties, and changing the fate of European League of Legends.
¿Qué jugadores creo que van a ser clave para esta serie? Pero voy a elegir tres nombres, en este caso de cada equipo. Por el lado de Movistar KOI me quedo con Yojopyun, con Myrwn y con Supa. Y de la mano de Karmine Corp me quedaré con Canna, con Vladi y con Caliste en este caso. Bueno, sinceramente creo que Karmine Corp son los favoritos. Han tenido un gran desempeño en el Dance, en el último torneo internacional. Son los recientes campeones también de la LEC, del último split. Pero lo siento mucho, chavales. En este caso, la victoria se viene para casa, para Movistar KOI, sin duda.
We can only hope for competition between what is a new and exciting regional, yet I shouldn't say region that I'm here in Europe. It is a country rivalry between France and Spain once again with myself, Hysterics, and Vedius. Wow.
Hello, my friend.
The guy that was on the music video. I hope one of us gets some chaos. I hope we all do.
I'm hoping for chaos.
Yeah,
I mean, we've got KC, who really haven't had much of a break. Immediately off the back at first stand, a week to prepare and already back into the thick of it. KOI had to play yesterday against G2, so we'll see what they've got prepared. I'm hoping for a bit of lackluster league, at least in game one, so we can get some chaos on the Rift and hopefully some action-packed League of Legends to start off this series. Our match of the week, KC versus KOI, an intense rivalry between the two organizations, the co-streamers, and right now it is very much in KC's favor, given that they are not the reigning champions of the LEC.
I mean, their recency bias, of course, going to be there. Remembering that KOI, as you said, already faced up against G2, but it was a 2-1. The only three-game series we've had so far at our opening of spring. And it felt like that was action-packed. Felt like that gave us a little bit of chaos and a bit of stomps amidst the wave. You'd be happy with both. For this is KC's debut since they've come back from Korea. And I like when we do this. I like when teams that come back from internationals are some of the latest to play as well, so that they can readjust. Because first stand, I mean, Vedi, you went. It was a week-long event, and it was over only like a week ago.
Yeah.
It's gotten back.
It really has been an intense one. But let's jump into the draft. Gwen going to be taken away alongside the Vi. Caliste on the side of Movistar KOI. Jace going to be removed from the top pool. Of course, we've got Canna returning to the Rift, a man who's known for his carry top laners. And now that we're in a meta of 1v1s, you have to feel like this is his playground coming into this matchup. With the Nafiri also going to be banned from KC. And again, returning from first stand, you can understand why these new champions that have made their way onto the patch are likely going to be removed from their pool in the short term.
The time to adjust to them. On the top lane point as well, let's not forget that Myrwn finally gets to play the lane when he has a psychotic champion pool.
That's true. So we saw the sign from him yesterday, which he said sometimes you have to just play for the team. Sometimes you got to do that. We'll see what he brings out against Canna.
You know, that still feels different. Like, it's not like San's a mainstay, so you'll take it where you can. Varus the first pick here, locking in, and seems like the strongest 80 carry, rather, on the patch.
I mean, it's 4 wins so far here in LEC.
Surprise.
It is a powerhouse in the bot lane. We've seen Skarner move away from the ban table, but risen in priority when it comes to the jungle lock-in, and KOI going to pair that up with the Yone. It feels that AD mid laners are just ever present when so many of the strong carries are AP. With Rumble still being available, you imagine the KOI is looking that way towards the top side of the map, perhaps taking a page out of the Fnatic playbook. But KC have an opportunity to deny the Rumble right now. The problem is their AD champion pool in the mid lane would be a little bit limited unless they look to try and grab something now.
Here's a question. Silas, never mind. Forget AD. couple of good ultis already to steal, but jungle pairing here maybe is a question. Sejuani is still like European specialty that we saw last year, that we saw in winter. That's always in the back of my mind when I see a melee mid laner.
I mean, I love the fact that Vladi, in his first game back after rising to stardom, and the Elyoya coming out as well,
Already cooking.
is going to bring out a skill matchup into Jojopyun here in the first game. Of course, he doesn't even know what ultimates he's going to be stealing yet. He's just saying, you know what, just give me the matchup. I'm confident in it. And a double AP mid-jungle duo. I mean, Myrwn trades immediately gains value, but remember, Yone never builds that. He always wants to grab the circus greaves.
It makes a lot of sense. Well, you've got set up though. Rel now gets locked in, so support instead of matching the AD carry here. You know that KC going to start banning away the AD carries left up and available, like the Ezreal, Corki's on my mind, Vedi. On the other side, KOI getting rid of some options, some disengage options, maybe some of the pesky engage that can also run into this Rel.
Going to remove the Ziggs, so one of the AP options in the bot lane going to be denied away from them. I like that adaptation from KC. I imagine they're going to look to remove another AD carry from the pool. You already listed through a few of them. So let's see what direction they decide to go in, because it feels like that the AD carry pool is incredibly deep right now.
Yep. Sorry.
Just vibing.
I'm just bouncing. I do love, like, since the fan base has been growing, and especially within the LEC studio, that the vibe is getting better and better. Now, as Aurora gets taken out, and I bring you back to the perspective of the game, that's not an AD carry ban. That is a solo lane ban, and usually a top lane ban, especially when you're going up against Myrwn. As Ezreal now, as we were talking before, Ezreal just seems like one of the best AD carries left up and standing.
Very safe. Did get a bit of a nerf on 25.6, but nothing too significant to push him out of the meta. A very safe backline threat that synergizes well with most compositions in the current meta. Now KC, they've already cooked with their first half draft. What direction will they go? We know that they need some form of engage, unless they want to play a lot of in and out. Alistair definitely makes a lot of sense. Can be a little bit tricky into the Ezreal, so they might lean more towards Leona. But as you rightly called, Alistair still a perfectly fine pick. Now, what will the top lane pick here be? Are they going to deny? I mean, Rumble can't be an option, right? It's too much AP. Do they want a little bit more of a front line? Nah. I mean, it's a Canna classic. Something very safe, very blindable. But now Myrwn has options. We know that he's a bit of the counterpick king. He's got all sorts of creative answers in the top side of the map. We saw him bring out the Vex last split as an answer to the Ambessa. Maybe he's even thinking about the Ambessa himself right now. We saw the Jax have a good laning phase earlier in the day, but then fall off a little bit later in the matchup.
Because if this is an AD top, we have pretty much practically an AD composition. So what fixes that? Annie top lane, you assume, because Jojo loves this Yone. You're not taking that away from him. And so when we came into this saying a reason top's going to be exciting is because we don't have lane swaps, never did I think that Myrwn would just slam down Annie R5.
You're my LPL historian. I swear this was an old school LPL answer in the top lane.
I think, okay, so Flandre played it a bit back in like on Snake season 6. Oh god, my brain.
I know, I can't remember where I've seen it before, but I know.
Google.
I mean, Annie top, we've definitely seen before.
We have.
But I swear it was used specifically into Gnar because of his relatively short range comparatively to Annie in the top lane. You can just kind of out-trade him, out-bully him. Even if he tries to all-in you, you've got your stun that you can always use to mitigate that. And it provides AP, which is exactly what MKOI needed. I thought that they were going to go towards the Rumble. I thought that that made more sense. But no, they picked for the matchup. And I'm excited to see this one play out. Annie top lane for Myrwn.
It's so funny, I'm looking at Annie at the moment. I see one ban globally. It's spring. Let's go to all splits for the year, shall we? There has been one top game. I'm quick to find that as well. But in minor leagues, right, like, at least for this year. Now, the important thing to note as well is while my brain might not connect, the Annie just seems to be such a fun option. A lot of burst added into the comp as well. And good ulti buttons, I'm going to say, Vedi. As KOI run us into the rift, our match of the week. Your first one back here in spring. What a joy. I love this rivalry that's growing on us. France versus Spain, KOI versus KC.
It's an exciting one. Vladi and Jojo meeting up in the mid lane. Yone versus Sylas is going to be an intense skill matchup. When we think about ultimates for Vladi to steal, ooh, how much do you know about Sylas's interaction with Annie's passive? I imagine he doesn't get it, so he will throw Tibbers down.
He doesn't get a stun.
Yeah, he should be able to get a stun, so he can still spawn a scary bear, but it's not going to 5-man stun you potentially. Of course, he does have a Rel ultimate to steal, Yone ultimate, Skarner ultimate. There's still decent options for Vladi. But this Annie pick, I mean, it adds a lot of great teamfight value to KOI. The flash ulti is going to be crucial. But the matchup is definitely what I'm excited about. I'm hopeful that our observers can keep track of what's playing out in the top side of the map, because I'd love to see how Myrwn plays this one out, as Jojo and Vladi do meet in the river for a bit of back and forth trading, which Jojo will get a small advantage in.
It'll be exciting to watch this mid lane as well. Just remembering that Vladi was like our best mid laner out of winter, especially with Caps having some ups and downs for Caps value. And Jojo got heavily criticized as the weakest point for KOI. Now, while we're into our first game of KC, it is only right to start highlighting how KC have come to this point, where 2024 was this rough year, finishing 2-7 consistently, only getting towards, getting towards playoffs in the last summer, but then never going any further, right? Season finals non-existent. We snap into winter, new roster, Caliste joins, of course, and your first stand recipients getting all the way to finals. Take that, NA.
I mean, the roster lived up to the hype, which I think is great for the organization and so many of the fans as well. There was so much belief that this roster and organization could accomplish a lot, and to do that in their first split, I mean, is nothing short of impressive. To usurp G2 as well, very few teams have beaten Caps in a final.
Yeah.
Prior to KC, it was only ever Rogue.
And that was Odo.
It was. And it was a 3-0 then, and then second time round, it was KC. But like that alone is an incredible feat to take down Caps in a final. But anyway, we find ourselves at the beginning of spring. The expectations have shifted, and the bot side of the map.
Target might be in trouble. Ignite's going to be the return. It's a flash. Mystic shot aimed down the line. Supa's first blood. Police response, so quick Supreme is Jojo in the 1v1. Vladi under his own turret, and Jojo can't step forward. Vladi's flash is held for now, as Jojo came very close to overshooting the mark.
He certainly did. Action across the map, and hey, we asked for chaos. We're getting it. First blood secured for KOI, but I still think it's ultimately a win in favor of Caliste, because he's able to still stick around in that bot side of the map. And look at the positioning of the wave. If our observers can pan down towards the bot side of the map, look at this freeze that he's been able to set up. Alvaro tried desperately to push the wave underneath the tower, but he wasn't able to succeed. Now what they can do is well, actually, I'm surprised they didn't hold that wave.
True.
I would have thought that they would just keep it there. Targamas would hold it. Caliste would go back to base, but instead he's going to look to try and get a push through. They know they have the numbers advantage. X-Slash.
Supa, he's got Arcane Shift second, which is a smart move against the Alistar, so not much Targamas can do. And while that wave resets despite our thoughts, Elyoya is moving into position with Canna getting a pushed on wave. But look at the size of this wave.
The stun is going to come through. The CC combo is terrifying.
Yeah, what can you do? You're up against the wall in there. You will stay. Canna flashes, but it's met by Elyoya. The burn's ticking down. Somehow Elyoya hasn't gotten the kill yet. The Rock, though, will seal the deal. And with the minion wave in front of the turret, that is a double whammy.
I mean, KOI are finding advantages in the top side, in the mid lane. That's a CS discrepancy building. And while Supa did find that kill, unfortunately, he was punished quite heavily for it. Trying to set up a bit of a freeze of his own right now to claw back that CS differential. But KOI off to an aggressive start here in Game 1.
Really is. It's a 400 gold lead for top. Jungle sharing that remedy thanks to the kill. Note that down bot, it's actually a kill apiece, so gold is even. But you don't need me to tell you numbers. You need me to tell you how this game's going to develop. That's where Vedi comes in. It is a 700 gold lead for KOI, though, by the way.
I mean, the player we haven't talked about, and we need to keep our eyes on, is Yike, who's just been power farming through the jungle. He didn't try anything too creative in the early game when it came to invades. Elyoya did a good job of tracking him, and you can see he's invested good vision on the top side of the map. Right now, KC don't have insight as to where Elyoya is, but he's looking for a play.
So they're going to go for Targamas because Targamas burned his flash before. Caliste doesn't have to use it. Someone's got a great pulverize. Elyoya wasn't able to reach his target to push him against the wall.
Tips his hat at the attempt.
Oh, yeah.
But unfortunately for KOI, they won't convert that into a kill. Yike continuing on with his clear, which is crucial because every time a jungler makes that attempt for a successful gank and it doesn't pay off, then there's an extra camp that you get to clear. And power farming on this Lilia is going to be crucial when it comes to the mid-game and just the mobility that you're going to have playing around.
Look how cocky Caliste is, though. In front of his turret, he might pay the iron price. I mean, the Ignite ticking over the potion just in case. And Thank God he popped it, otherwise he was a dead man. He just didn't even flash.
I'm surprised he got away with that. The health pot's doing a huge amount of work to keep him alive. Wave in a bit of an awkward spot. He's going to be forced to push that one out as the resets come through.
But just snap back. I love that again. Action keeps pursuing. Vladi with a sidestep doesn't have to do anything more. The impale stolen away before an impale of Elyoya's own is in the way. Abscond abducted and Elyoya's Scorpion live comes to a crushing end. Yike there to help seal it.
Nice outplay from Vladi. The support from Yike was clutch. As Targamas now makes his way into mid lane and KC equalized the kill score 2-2. The gold is dead even, but Yike, crucially, will be first to these grubs, and Myrwn may have something to say about it. Level 6.
Tippers, what do you do when your childhood bear meets you in the face? Now, you can think about it, you can talk to it, or if you're not a crazy person, you walk away. The situation's a little bit weird. Myrwn holding on and still trying to throw that threat to the ground. There's a smite available for Yike shortly as Canna ulti just thrown out, but he misses. It's still enough to threaten off, and because of that, KC going to get 3 grubs.
So Elyoya will come back out onto the map, but that death is going to start to really snowball Yike now. He has about a half a level advantage, securing the grubs, and the dragon is still available. Vladi, been spotted.
Targamas is here to help though, so it's going to become a 2v2 for KC. The engage is coming through. Yike, Swellseek doesn't connect as Jojopyun, he launched in. He might have to launch out with his ulti. They're trying to draw it out of him, or at least get the flashes. Vladi playing with fire. KC are just not giving up any mid lane control.
KC are putting a lot of resources into helping Vladi through this early game. The trading has been very close between the two mid laners, with Jojo being able to build a bit of an advantage in terms of the 1v1, but thanks to that kill, the gold rests in favor of Vladi. I think there would have been more kill threat in that little skirmish if Vladi had had his ultimate available, but unfortunately it wasn't cooldown. But now that it's back up, he's stolen away Jojo's ulti, and he has that for his own purposes. Crucially, notice the teleports that are available. Vladi does still have his up, as Jojo will have to run back to lane as the bear makes its appearance.
It's going to be a Rod of Ages Annie top, by the way, if there was any confusion about what the build was going to be.
A little bit more durable, a little bit more scaling.
As opposed to the Shirelia's Annie with Symbiotic Soul that I could definitely see coming out in this day and age. As a 1v1 in mid, Jojo, he pops out, Soul Unbound, and Vladi's just holding on to his hijacked ultimate. Jojo's still not burning his. There is a fate unsealed for both of them as Canna's still trying to pressure out, but Yike is here with a massive wave. This deer, seeing only headlights with flash available, wants to kill Myrwn. Stun now up and available, but there's enough movement speed that flash needs to be burned. Swellseek just in case, and KC getting another summoner.
The ulti from Yike was an ever-present threat that Myrwn felt forced to flash away from, and it's understandable because had that Q from Yike connected, it very likely would have resulted in Myrwn's death.
Oh.
Bowling ball will roll its way into mid lane. Help clear out the wave a little bit for Vladi, given that he is very low right now. Jojo, nice threat with the E. A lot of action happening on the map. Dragon's still available. And given that Vladi needs to recall, Caliste doing the same thing, could be a good opportunity for KOI to actually make their way towards that first dragon of the game.
You know, it's a bit cooked in Berlin. I have to book bowling. I walked into a bowling alley when I first got here last year, Betty.
Yeah.
And they said, oh, you have to book.
You do?
And I was like, it's bowling. Just let me walk to a lane.
I mean, if there's paperwork involved, you know the Germans will be on top of it.
Gotta do the paperwork.
Do the paperwork.
Sorry about that.
How can you bowl properly if it's not catalogued and marked?
Oh, yeah. Because I'm going to bowl a perfect game or something for sure. Bro,
Fun fact, Medic is a very good bowler.
Who, you?
No, Medic.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he did it like not professionally, but he was very into it.
He's a good bowler.
Yeah.
He should book in. I should not. Now, bowling balls are interesting.
Yeah.
You might ask why. Well,
no, do not continue on this topic.
But
that was a casual transition away.
There's chains attached. When Yike hits that with Leandri, it slows, it brings up an ulti.
Uh-huh.
This was a transition away.
I see.
Yeah, very good at it. And things like that in front of Dragon and chunk outs are pretty important. As you can see here on Raptors, you never played Lilia and you don't know what E does. I'm sorry, I just don't know why you're viewing League of Legends. I feel like our audience should have played everyone by now. But then again, there are people in our audience who just see nothing. You know, they probably don't know what half the champions do.
Quite likely.
Because they're young, you know?
Right, that's true.
Some of these champions are older than they are.
I mean, there'll be a fresh spawning of the grubs in 20 seconds. I imagine KC will set their sights on it. I'm keeping my eyes on the minimap. I see Caliste making his way towards the mid lane as KOI going to start off this dragon. I think this should be an easy cross map from KC. They're not really in a position to contest, and I think it would be a difficult one to do so given their positioning on the map.
6 grubs for a Nara inside. Always feels good, while at least Drake stacking starts with a Cloud. And a Hextech coming up next. Canna using this time to just get some turret plating for his own. Pull back some of the gold as he engages on Targamas. A good bop away, sets up for Vladi to maybe hit him, but in trouble as Targamas, he flashes away, no ulti, Impale stolen, but not taken. Asleep is Yike, finds the one behind the wheel as Alvaro is the fate sealed onto the back, opens up for Targamas again. Vladi has to flush away as KC, even up against their own turret, are getting threatened by Jojo. A clean re-engage from KOI to get themselves back in the game.
Really well played from Jojo. Good target selection with his utilization of the ultimate to lock down Yike and then convert that into a kill onto Targamas, who they knew had no flash. He almost got another kill onto Vladi, but he was a little short when connecting that final Q. It will result in a kill, but it will unfortunately result in the loss of the grubs. You'll notice Targamas doesn't have the level 6 yet, doesn't have the ultimate to buy time. Both Skarner ultis are flashed away from. The Rel tries to flash away, but then watch this play from Jojo. Connects the ultimate, pops the E, then uses the third proc of the Q to get the 2-man knockup. Tried to land this last Q here onto Vladi, which if he had, would have been a kill. But unfortunately, he goes the wrong way, and Vladi's able to navigate his way to safety. A plate secured in the mid lane. Grubs falling in favor of KC. That's going to be 6 grubs now for this KC squad, but the gold largely even.
And Jojo, from what we've seen so in this game as well, has been more than just even. Early laning phase has been great. He had a lot of attention from Yike, and unfortunately, at close quarters from the play at 4-5 minutes under turret from Vladi, even things out a little bit. But what I'm trying to tell you is that it feels like Jojo's start of the season has been a bit more reinvigorating. Now, of course, against G2, questions there, but against KC, as they yap away, you'll be shown as Vladi goes in. Jojo runs back to his soul, and that's it for now, as Vladi just continues trading up. Looking towards the rest of the map, Betty, nothing up in terms of objectives. 3 minutes for Dragon, 3 minutes for the Herald. We go to lanes, it's 13 minutes, 1 minute left of plating. And KOI is still trying to set up to see what they can find in picks.
Typically in map states like this, you turn your attention towards the side lane out of towers, given that plates are going to be falling off soon. You potentially try and cross map with numbers advantage, send your AD carry to a lane where they can maybe get an extra plate before the plating wears off. Maybe you could even threaten a dive, like right now Vladi isolated in the bot lane. Maybe this is an option. Of course, Targamas in the area though to cover. Alvaro, he's fishing, throws out, well, I guess it would be called a lance, but the metaphor in my head I was thinking of was spear fishing.
Okay.
In any case, he's not going to find anything. Targamas going to be bullied a little bit out.
I just didn't think you knew anything about fishing, so that was impressive for me.
I know there are various types of fishing, and when I was like 8, I went fishing.
Nice.
I used to catch rainbow trout in a pond.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really fun actually.
Are they actually rainbow? Or?
No, they were rainbow trout. Yeah,
but they're actually rainbow.
I mean, when you looked at like their scales, they had like a nice
they're rainbow,
coloring.
like the rainbow fish. Yeah. You remember the book?
No.
Rainbow fish.
I don't read. I'm a gamer. What are we saying?
Okay, sorry, bro. Sorry.
It needs to have pictures in it, and then I'll read it.
It did. It's a kid's book. It's a book for 2-year-olds. Well, okay. I'm going to buy Vedius a book after the series.
That's kind of you.
We're heading towards Dragon. You guys can start looking up what rainbow fish is. Go to Child's book that might look a little better than the fight that's going to ensue on second Dragon. Let's see what the setup looks like. Reset here from KOI. First item for the Yone, the Blade of the Ruined King, the absolute god tier item. Yes, it is. Some big first items for KOI. Oh, Tibbers. Myrwn's taking no damage, by the way. I think Canna quickly realized that. Oh, my lord.
Sword boots give Annie so much value early.
Yeah.
And with only the Merc treads, I'm afraid, Canna, that's not enough. I mean, he's still alive, which is the good news. It's just in terms of the trade, Myrwn's always going to win out on those short bursts. Things should get a little bit easier for Canna once he gets that Trinity Force and some durability under his belt. Get a bit of supportal combat over vision.
Oh no! I might send this.
No Tibbers. The kill angle?
Oh, actually might be. Ulti back.
Oh no. Okay, he wants to just disengage, get the wave.
Yep.
Dragon spawning in 25 seconds.
Takes one that's desperately. Elyoya fishing for a play himself. Caliste at half HP. He's already being chunked out a little bit here on the poke virus as And KC will have mid-prio for the time being. Supa gets tagged out, but KC waiting to pull the triggers as Vladi and Jojo pulling it out. There's a fake sealed onto one target. If Vladi gets away from this, it's a big ulti not to have for the fight.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot used. And
Alvaro! Targamas behind enemy lines. Elyoya running away, but he's caught something. I didn't know cows could swim. Targamas still alive with the unbreakable will of the Scorpion's being run into him, but it's trample out with a long chain line. A trade for now, but Jojo's taken down by Yike. The deer has got spirit, and now a new target. Supa and Alvaro together, but for Elyoya, that's a dream come true. Down for the Quadra, and down for KC's exceptional fight.
Yike is popping off. A fight like this, where it's scattered in multiple skirmishes, allows the mobility of Elyoya to just run away with the fight. 6-4 in kills, the advantage starting to grow. KC gonna get their third objective and their first rank of the game.
Yike is gigantic now as well. Vedius, take me through what that long replay ended up being.
So again, Jojo forcing an engage on the bot side of the map means that KC find an easy engage on the top side. Elyoya can leverage the fact that she has so much mobility to dance in and out, chunk Alvaro out, turn it into a 3 versus 2. Vladi then TP's up to the fight, creating a 2 versus 4. Supa's forced to E over the wall to get involved in the fight. The heal from Vladi's W, proving so valuable, keeping him alive a little bit longer to force Jojo to overcommit to trade the kill. But then it just becomes a cleanup as Alvaro, I think he should have just based. There was little that he could really offer. But the moment that Alvaro was chunked out, it was a numbers of...
Wait, this sounded like my voice as well. Like, same idea.
Oh, Yike though. Oh, it's hunting season for KOI.
It is indeed. I tell you what, Venison might take sides, but the kiting away has been good. Not one but two is three-man again. Carter's just doing it again. His Nah always finds the wall, and Yike always finds the kill. KOI will no longer be fishing. I think the rod's broken as Canna's got a new target, Elyoya, right in front of him, and nothing that this Scorpion can do. Yike moves into vicinity, and KC are now styling, laughing, playing with this fish out of water.
Yike's movement was crazy in that dive. Canna had a fantastic ultimate, but the fact that Yike was able to sidestep so much bought enough time for Canna to set up the play, and they turn it in their favor very quickly. KC is gaining the momentum, and this Elyoya with the Rift Maker finished as well.
Holy.
I mean, things are getting out of control.
Indeed they are. The lead is 2,300 in the jungle alone. 3,500 between KC and KOI at 18 minutes. All it took was that big play because KOI were finding, you know, stability cross-map and stability with Jojo. But all it took, again, was one singular play. Now for KC, looking to continue pushing mid. You can see Vladi up in top. Dragon's been up for a while, but Targamas has got something in river. There's a one-man lilting lullaby onto the Scorpion. It's going to set up with Chains of Corruption as well. The damage is disgusting.
I mean, beautiful setup with the CC as well. Keeping Elyoya locked down for as long as possible. They feed another kill over to Yike. Dominating now on the Elyoya. Jojo might be in some danger here. Trapped underneath this tower. Supa goes for a 1v1.
Does indeed. Caliste's low on mana. How much does it matter here against the lethality bar as he kites away? Supa gets poked out and another arrow to fly through as Vladi just takes a free kill. Doesn't press anything but his rocket belters. Vladi, now that he's here, wants to go for a little bit more. Myrwn's going to get tanked up and sent in, and Yike, you can see, is once again looking for another ankle, but a lilting lullaby fate sealed is blocked by Vladi getting into melee range. Chain Lash won't connect in part 2, but it's enough to force KOI away. Every single play is going KC's up.
It certainly is. Largely being driven by Yike, but KOI rather are getting a bit desperate. The way in which they try to force these picks.
King.
The fact that they tried their best to get something back and they only got punished for it means that this lead from KC continues to grow. Herald's going to be converted. And the problem is, well, the way you deal with Elyoya is crowd control.
Yep.
Because her biggest strength is mobility. She just moves so quickly. But when you have things like Annie, a good flash ulti can lock her down and mitigate that. Ultimately, she's very squishy as a champion.
True.
So there are options that KOI do have. The problem is they need proper setup around objectives, and I would say that that's been the biggest failure of KOI so far in this game. They've been very disconnected, they've been getting caught out a lot, the way in which they've been playing the fights has not been optimal, and KC have been punishing these mistakes very consistently.
I feel like Yike again, we're just selling who was one of the greatest pivotal members of KC as well. Yes, we hyped up Vladi. Yes, we hyped up Caliste, but let's not forget that Yike came from the G2 squad after a couple of successful building years. And joining in this roster, they tried to set up closure as well, tried to bring a big voice. Yike just showed how much his time in G2 has given him that foundation in League of Legends.
I think it's really awesome for players that played on G2 but then can find success outside of the organization, because a lot of people just attribute their success to, oh, well, you played with Caps and you're on G2. And that's what I think was so amazing for Yike, as he continues to find success. Of course, we are still very early on in the Spring Split, but with a Game 1 performance like this, I imagine the KC fans are ecstatic with how things are playing out. The Atakan going to be started off. Remember, these resistances, they get shredded like paper thanks to Atakan. Could be a good opportunity for KOI to find a comeback fight.
The annoying thing is, though, with the MRD buff, we need Myrwn to really set it up and spike it down. But they're not going anywhere near. KOI just going to move away, and that's Atakan for free. And GA version as well for KC. Start playing some of these dives. 2,700 between jungle, 1k for top, 1k for Caliste between him and Supa. And second dragon for KC, also going to be piled on that welcome bundle.
Oof, I mean, it's a rough one for KOI. I think they made the wise decision. You'll notice their itemization. Second item spikes have come through now. They should feel a lot more confident when it comes to the upcoming fights, even though they are, of course, behind. The fact that they've been able to at least solidify their itemization better sets them up for success in the oncoming fight. So rather than gamble it around the Atakan, they decided, you know what, we'll just wait, be a little bit more patient. So now they find themselves at a pivotal moment. No dragon for 4.5 minutes, Baron in 2.5. Within this time frame, they need to mitigate what advantages KC can find. Oh,
nice.
That is just a solo kill.
It is indeed. Well, guess what? It doesn't count because it's not a kill.
It's 200 gold.
Yeah, but not 300.
True.
And it doesn't go on the scoreboard. Okay? But you know what will? If KC finds something back. Jojo's going to become solo unbound, but Targamas is waiting there with his trample up. He gets in the way of the Fate unsealed, and Jojo has to flash in the end as well. Teleport back, that's Vladi rejoining with his own Fate seal.
I mean, KC are not slowing down, are they? They secured the mid-tier 1. They're dropping the Herald in the top lane. They're keeping the pressure up. Vladi rejoining the group has commandeered Jojo's ultimate. Jojo doing his best to wave clear, but the Herald's going to get another strike as well. And I love this confidence that we're seeing from KC. They know they have the advantage. They know they want to keep the pressure up, leverage this Atakan buff as much as they can. But I think the wind in their sails is dying down. Perhaps I need to stand corrected. They've set their sights on the tier 2 in mid.
Such a strong performance, at least for game 1, as Canna runs it onto Supa. Only an arcane shift, but the poke narrowly lands. Sidestep is important and crucial and pretty good. Supa walks away, but Baron's going to be up in a minute 15. More importantly, the Dragon as well, which will lead to Soul Point. Number 3 will be there in 3 minutes too. Fate Seal just going to be used because Vladi's hijack has run out of steam. And the cooldown recycled. So a couple of turrets taken with this big push. Now a 6k gold lead. And it is just nice to see KC come off an international and perform like this.
Yeah.
Because we had high expectations from what we ended Winter Spring with.
Often it's common for teams to return from an international event with a bit of fatigue, right? Yeah. Their ability to pick up on the new meta can sometimes be a little bit slow. They're also just very tired because, you know, they end a split, go straight to international,
also going
straight
from
back.
Korea, which is like a 14-hour flight, right?
So I'm always willing to give teams benefit of the doubt, especially within their first. No, I'm good. Okay. Actually, my sleep has been incredible. I've been getting up very early in the morning.
So you get jet lag more often.
And Canna.
It might be caught out. No Mega Gnar. The bar is half filling up, but not fully committed.
The truth is that KC don't need that benefit of the doubt. They've just come in. They've performed as they often do. They're keeping things calm and calculated, and they're just.
They often do, like, I mean, from Winter, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And they're keeping it simple in the sense that they're just punishing the mistakes of KOI. They haven't really felt the need to overforce anything. Every single play that KOI has tried to make, they've just done their best to shut it down, and it has worked beautifully. Yike now, level 15. He's the same level as his top laner. Yep. He has 3 items completed. This Lilia is what we in the...
Misery business. Talk about Caliste losing his Edge of Night, but Elyoya gets nowhere near him. Meanwhile, Looting Lullaby catches 2 by the toe, and now Alvaro Not going to get bowled over, but Yike steps up to do a little bit more damage as he runs away. The Ignite's going to be enough to tick and send him far as Jojo at half HP with a poke from Caliste. KC, the B comes out. And even Vladi fighting top turret will go on to Myrwn. I mean, this is a solo kill territory. And he sends out Tibbers, but Tibbers in response. But you're going to get your answer before Vladi ends up dying. One Tibbers now, two onto the rip. Gets a little bit angry, and Supa's going to get the bear. Beware. Boy, run to the base, and they have to heal on up as their inhibitor on top is exposed.
I mean, you can see that KC is really just having fun with it at this point.
Yeah.
Vladi trying to outplay in the 2 versus 1, comes close to making it a 1-for-1 trade. Exposes the top lane inhibitor. They could have used that opportunity to go for the Baron, but instead they decided to push their limits a little bit, and they'll walk away with only their mid laner down. Dragon spawning 40 seconds. Vladi will be up in time. He has the teleport available. Elyoya looking for a flank, but who exactly is going to get collapsed on here?
Because Canna does do good damage. I mean, it's a Trinity Force Nah. Hullbreaker still. Enough stats in there to keep you rolling as Elyoya at half HP, and Canna's now going to Mega Nah. They want to follow this up. Canna's going to one-man ulti, and look, playing in hearts of 4, almost 5 people at KOI. KC can do it with 2.
I mean, with 2 members, they were able to chunk away the HP bars of both Elyoya and Alvaro. They've gained mid control, and now the rest of KC have arrived. They've pushed out bot lane. They have no options for KOI, or they leave no options rather for KOI to contest this. I mean, it's just clean play from KC across the board.
It's fair to glaze KC right now. They're absolutely styling. And I'm impressed as well that they haven't really lost their pace on the trigger after that early game fight, right down here in River.
I mean, they did push for an inhibitor in top lane, and Vladi tried to outplay 2v1.
Yes.
Aside from that, I agree with you. It's been a very disciplined performance from KC across the board. They've secured Dragon Soul point. And, ooh, is that a Yone that is out of position?
It is indeed, and Targamas is going to make it so. Nice little trample up. Can they kill the cow? Targamas gets in the way, and Unbreakable Will's going to buy him a bit of time. Even if he dies here, he knows it's going to be an end-up trade, but he's not. Targamas is out of the way, and Caliste takes the kill with that punish as well. Baron is right below.
Should be an easy objective for KC to start off. This will be KOI's really last Hail Mary play. Perhaps Elyoya can get a steal if he can. There are options, but I don't think KC's going to make it very easy for them.
Elyoya pulls something out of the hat. Now, what I tried to say is Targamas flashes forward with the Polarizer. He's got to pull a miracle out, but a lilting lullaby ×3. Supa's going to cleanse it away, but Vladi has an impale to add more CC. Myrwn flashes as well, and although it looks like it's going good for KOI, 1, 2, 3, count with me, everyone at home, that's 4. That's right, you're learning to count all the flashes that KC took out of KOI, running away from this Baron.
The goal difference is just too big. Even though they get the kill onto Targamas, it's not enough to turn the fight in their favor. But Elyoya has not given up yet. The TP comes in from Jojo.
Send in the Hail Mary, what else can you do? But Yike, now without Sonya's maybe a little bit more vulnerable, but the almost level 16. Lilia sits on the Baron and waits for his moment. On to Jojo, the burn is enough with Caliste, poking and ranging. Myrwn lucky to be outside of that enhanced quiver. Blue team has indeed taken Baron. That's 9K, that's Baron, and that's KC looking to put the nail in the coffin at game number 1. Myrwn gets that if only just Targamas had his unit, but not his collision. Vladi has found Supa, and it's not going to end here. That's an electrocution as Vladi finds kill number 3.
I mean, what else is there really to say other than KC near perfection in their execution of that Baron? They did not give any room for KOI to even risk a smite steal. A good use of the ultimate from Caliste to lock down Jojo as well. Targamas pushing deeper into KOI's half of the map, giving more camps to Yike. I mean, look at this Lilia now, getting close to level 17. It's game, set, and match, and now KOI need to be thinking about game 2. The goal difference is too big, and with the Baron, KC are looking to get their first win of Spring.
First game win and open up this series in a bang in what has been, you know, a kind of fun draft. Like, I know I was at least talking about things like Sejuani, you know, standard junglers. We've been seeing things like Sinzao, Vi when it's not banned away, but like, the Lilia is such a bold move. If I'm not mistaken, I remember in Spring, I don't remember Yike pulling it out at all with all the variations of jungle that he had.
He's definitely played it in the past, and he has a lot of AP junglers in his pool. But I think as an answer into the Skarner, it's a good one.
Yeah.
Just the fact that you can dance around his range. And
Fresh meat. Targamas runs in. I think that's grass-fed, actually. Targamas, he's going to heal all this up, of course, with red buff, and KC are doing something on the other part of the map. Look at the inhibitor turret, rather Nexus turrets from Canna, as he's taken him himself. Inhibitor's going to be exposed. Bot turret is going to come up next, and KOI, the fire just won't go out. It's a 12k gold lead because structures are falling every 10 seconds. Make it another one, and now KOI on their last defense with an Impale taken out. It's Impale for Impale, a little bit janky that takes Vladi out in the end, but Targamas is re-engaged, going to make sure that Alvaro will drop 2. KC running into the base, 4 members, Baron behind them. KOI have got 4, but it ain't the same. The ambulance is definitely called for the right team, and Joe just poked out. Canna's ulti is brilliant, and yet again, KC are filling us with hope. The region is looking at this team in the same vein, and in game 1 against that mighty fish, they've got a spear in hand.
KC with a very solid game 1 performance. It was chaotic in terms of how the early laning phase was going, but Yike just popped off. That first team fight was all it took for him to run away with the game.
Game 1, but game 2 is coming up after this between KC and KOI. Needs a map.
Wait, I'll take care of this.
Laure, be careful. That thing belongs in a museum.
What is this?
Wow, that escalated quickly. What do we do now?
Let's have a break.
Have a break. Have a Kit Kat.
How do we get out?
Like this. Say it.
What about me?
Red Bull gives you wings.
Welcome to Marriott Bonvoy. Where can we take you?
From Berlin to the finals, Marriott Bonvoy will be your check-in at every checkpoint. Discover over 30 hotel brands here and around the world. Marriott Bonvoy, a check-in at every checkpoint.